bows and bow ties. So it's the wee hours in the morning, and yeah. So these are the kind of things that happen in old age. Like for me, I oftentimes struggle with sleeping all the way through the night, and so I had fallen asleep earlier after I had gotten off my live actually with CBR Kid, and I woke up at 2 o'clock. Now, let me just say, when I woke up, it was a little after 2. I don't know what channel was on the television. There was still a candle burning on my counter. I had a light on. One of my children had fallen asleep downstairs with all the lights on and everything. So I go downstairs, cut off the lights, tap them, say, hey, go to bed. But when I had awakened from my slumber, I don't know what position I was in. I was knocked out. I woke up to some sort of, it was like a Lifetime type. For those of you who know, you remember back in the day, like you would get like the Lifetime commercials, and they're like, and if you buy now, you can get a set of all this music or whatever. What was playing was they were trying to sell a DVD set of Def Comedy Jam. If you get this, you can get five for 5 payments of $19.99. We're gonna give you 36 curated episodes of Def Comedy Jam or whatever it was for $19.99. I'm like, who has DVD players? Because I know we don't have one. Let me go ahead and show my thumbnail. I've been thinking. So, when you get to middle age, for people, they reach this kind of like space at random different times. You start waking up in the middle of the night and you start thinking about a whole bunch of stuff. Some of it that doesn't matter, some of it does. And I found that because my brain is constantly going. I'm constantly thinking about my children, my parents, like my marriage, like nothing's wrong. But, there were times when we were like not doing all that great. But, you're constantly thinking. And then you go through a period where you're like, I need to think about myself. So this is a little bit of a random thing because, I was like, let me just go ahead and just put this out there. It was interesting because this isn't earth shattering news or anything like that. Most likely this won't get a lot of views. I I find that I make a lot of lists. I am the listicle queen. Even when I was going to do this video, I just wrote down the first things that come to my mind. It wasn't in any order, but I like writing lists. So this was my ding. Can you see that? My ding dong list. And on the back, I realize I do that because it makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something. If I can check off something, right? The first thing I wrote down was lots of listicles. That's what I wanted to say. It hit me like, what is what's going on? What's going on? Like, I've known this for a while, but it was like I finally verbalized it. Why do you feel like you need to accomplish something? I think it's because I feel like I want to accomplish something new. I want to accomplish something new. So I think I alluded to the fact that maybe briefly last night, I don't think I touched on it too much, that I had been trying to um, learn something else within, for a career or whatever. And so I would sometimes at night, I'm in these seminars or whatever, I've gotten a new certification, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's just that when I feel this need to accomplish something and learn something new. And I realized I must be in this season of transition. I don't know what this entirely looks like, but I'm constantly trying to accomplish something, some new thing or whatever, learn some new thing. So Let me see if I can bring up a picture of some shenanigans. I took this right before I went live. Let me see if I can bring this up. Is it, what's going on? Let's go into, okay, we're going to use this. Do you guys see this? Can you see this? I want you to take a look at that. This is only like a few months old. So my kitchen stays pretty clean, except for this one little spot in the corner that's driving my husband crazy. And it's because, let me just say this, I am constantly burning candles. I have a couple of new oil lamps. I just like the house to smell a certain kind of way. I don't know, it makes me feel better. Maybe it's looking at the flame. I don't know. In the process over the last couple of years, because I love burning candles, I realized I'm like, there's so much wax that gets lost. Just stay with me. I toss out, I spend so much money on candles and then I toss it out when it gets towards the end. And I'm like, all this is useful. So I decided while I would be doing my little YouTube things, right, I was actually researching on how to save candle wax. And I learned how to create candles out of this leftover wax, you know, scents, all that kind of stuff. So it's like I went all in, I bought all this stuff, but I don't have a place to put it, right? So it's just sitting right there in my kitchen, different things I could do. And my husband is going crazy. But I was like, this is just where I'm at with it right now until I figure out where I want to put it, until I get it out my system. It's like this one corner of shenanigans. So it's interesting. People come and it's like the house looks decent, but that corner, it's an eyesore. What I realized during all of this, as I was writing down my listicles, right? I just like having these little lists, and I'm like, you know what? I feel like I'm trying to accomplish something, I'm trying to check off something, and like all these things on my list. It was more like as I've gotten older, I realized I want to explore the more creative side of who I am. When I was younger, I was driven. I was very driven. And then I had my family, and I've been focused on raising my children and keeping the family together. When I was doing that, the things that I wanted to do, or the things that I thought about, or whatever it was, like any of my silly notions and dreams, like I think everyone should have silly dreams, like silly imaginations. I I felt like there was a period of time where I didn't have any of it. So this is the crux of where I'm going with this. You know, we in the middle of the night, many women wake up because they've got things going on in their mind. They're constantly thinking. My husband is sleeping his behind off. And we think about all the things we have to accomplish, all the things we have to accomplish throughout the day, and you don't get to do the next day. And the last thing you want to do is feel like you failed or you haven't accomplished something. So here I am with my listicles type stuff because I'm like, I gotta check something off. But in that process, and I was looking at my candle stuff, and I realized all the things that I wanted to do, and I'm like, that's where I'm at with it. I've been so driven with accomplishing things and taking care of my family and making sure things get done, and I had to like check these things off. And now, as I've gotten older, I've been trying to explore these other sides of who I am, and it's like it's a mess. It is a hot mess. I'm not even mad about it though. That's the thing. I'm not mad. It just is what it is. Let me take that off for a second. It is what it is. Yes, I'm in my PJs. And let me just say for the record, these are probably the warmest pajamas ever. I got them a couple of years ago for Christmas. My husband got them. You should see my whole outfit is really cute. It's probably not even that serious to be in the warmest that I have, by the way, but I don't know. I can't regulate my temperature. I might be going through the change. I don't know. Sometimes I'm cold, sometimes I'm hot. They're so comfortable. Anyway, I just want to let you know I am tired, but I can't sleep. So it's 4:49 a.m. I'm on the East Coast. Let me get back to my point. We sit here at around my age, and for those of you who don't know, I'm 46. You want to accomplish so much, and it's like, at least for me, I always felt like I need to make sure that I've accomplished certain things, I achieve certain things. And so I create these lists, these listicles, and I write down these things and blah blah blah. And I found that over time I dreamed less, I dreamt less. That's probably more correct, right? And when I say dreamt, like, I can't get the words out. What is wrong? Like, I don't know. I think that the imagination, I used to just imagine a world of possibilities. And that typically happens when you're young, right? Because you don't have all the responsibilities and the pressures of society and everything like that. There's a freedom there. I found that I didn't dream as much. I mean, like the literal dream, and like the creative side. There wasn't any dreaming. So now in middle age, I realized I wanted to be more creative. I didn't know what it was, but I realized I was hitting this need to create something. And part of it is where the birth of this YouTube channel came from, my podcast came from. Now I'm making candles. Um, you know, I don't know. So anyway, for those of you out there like, why is she out here on this internet yipping and yapping? I'm just telling you, this is like the real kind of things that happen. You start thinking about things. You start at middle age, you start questioning your mortality. Uh, you start thinking about your legacy. You start thinking about, what does the future really look like? You start thinking about all kinds of things. But I noticed there was this need for me to be more creative. So I don't know. There wasn't like a main big point to this, but this is where I am. You recognize at middle age, it's like you get into this new season, and it's not necessarily defined. It's not necessarily pretty. Look at that candle corner. It is a disaster. It's a disaster. I know I could probably do better, but for whatever reasons, that corner, it's just imperfect. And it's perfect the way it is right now. I don't know why. And if anybody touches it, like, the whole house is going to be miserable. I'm like, who messed with my jacked up candle corner? But I think maybe it was some sort of subconscious need. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, and I don't want to do a whole lot of self-diagnosing, but I don't know why that it looks like that. I just need it to look exactly like that. Don't touch my ish, right? Um, I don't know. I don't know if it makes any sense, but it's, I don't know. That's just where I'm at today. I just feel like with everything having so many boundaries and requirements, like, there's no requirement for how that needs to look right now. There's none. I think that's the reason why I probably have this YouTube channel, because there's not enough people out there who look like me, who are in my age group or whatever, putting out content, things that middle-aged people can relate to. Most of the people I know who are middle-aged don't even want to get on this app because they think it's crazy, and I can't disagree. There's not enough content out there. There's not enough content out there that talks about, um, from all of us. There are some non-black people out there, but like, why we're not sleeping, you know, why we are not creating. I don't know. I wrote down a whole bunch of notes, and I'm not going through all of them, but it was almost like a brainstorming session. And I actually convinced myself to come on here and, like, just be free form. Just gonna put it out there. Don't try to overthink it. So I literally wrote a bunch of stuff. I just started writing. And I said, go live. Because if I don't do it, I won't do it. I'll be like, oh, this is shenanigans. But I will say this. In the last few years, I've been creating podcasts and YouTube videos. Well, I just started last year with the YouTube video, I think 2 years ago for the podcast. I was scared to show my face. Um, I've been in this creating mode. I've been trying to. At one point, I was gonna like create miniature, I don't know, like houses or something. I don't know, but then I abandoned that. And I don't typically abandon projects, but I abandoned it. I was like, I like it, but I don't love it. I have started trying to collect coins. I don't know why. I was just like, I'm gonna be a coin collector, numismatic, or whatever that word is, numis something or other. It's like, oh, that's not for me. The candle thing, I was like, okay, look, I burn candles every single day. I burn a oil it now too. And I'm like, I like it. No, I don't want to make a living off of it. I just want to know how to make it and create it and use it for myself. This middle age thing is really interesting. I mean, I think what it is too is not only am I like trying to deal with this creative side, I think I've become bored with the status quo of certain things, like maybe career or whatever. So I'm definitely interested in trying new things. So last year, getting on this YouTube platform, this was a new thing. I didn't know how to do it. I was like, how do I work this operation here? That's pretty much it. I just want to say at middle age, you'll find that women are definitely not sleeping. They wake up in the middle of the night. They think about all the things that they need to do or to accomplish. If there are things that they're worried about, maybe pray on some things. Um, I know I'm one of them. I should be in bed. It's going to be 5 o'clock. I have a full day tomorrow. I've got so many games with my kids. Their fall sports. There's just stuff going on. You would think I would go get my butt in bed. I will go back to bed and get a couple more hours before we have to get up. But I just wanted to share that. Um, just out here, like, thinking about all the things you need to do. And I realize I'm tired of being responsible sometimes. Sometimes you just want to do something crazy. And before I get off, let me just say that um, I think for those of you who've watched my channel, you realize that, like, let me take this off. You realize that I enjoy traveling, right? A lot of it's because I just want to get away from the mundane. I want to do something different. Like, I've always enjoyed traveling, but it has picked back up as my kids have gotten older. Why does my cat have to chew so loud? She's doing too much. She's so cute though. Anyway, I think it's that getting away from the mundane. It's that escape. It's, for those fleeting moments, the real world doesn't exist. It's tapping into a side where there's much more pleasure, the trying of foods, new lands, new environment, new people, new sights, rest, relaxation, that type of thing. That's where I'm at with it. I don't know. I forgot why I made that point anyway. So I should probably just get off and force myself to get some sleep. By the way, you know what? I'm getting ready to try some new hand soap from Bath and Body. We're gonna see what this smells like. All right, I just wanted to throw that out there because I was looking at it. All right, so look, I have no expectations for this video. This was purely for my benefit. Hopefully someone got something out of it. And that's it. Uh, I'm out. Go ahead and subscribe.